Okay, so welcome to our Team Coaching for High Value Results webinar and information session here at UC Davis CPE. We're so glad to have you with us. We are here talking today about our March cohort that's going to be starting March 8th. And as I move forward, here's just a overview of some of the details that everybody's really chomping at the bit usually to know. So you can see that it's a 10-week program. We're going to be doing that in March. It's all live via Zoom, so you don't have to worry about COVID regulations changing or anything like that. We're all on Zoom, but it's highly interactive, as our amazing instructor and director can tell you, Lori. You're really gonna, there's no snoozing in this program. And we're meeting on Tuesday evenings and then some Saturdays. And this is in response to what some of the students have told us in the past, and some of you who weren't able to take the program last time because of our schedule that was during workday hours. So we're giving this schedule a shot this time. And then our cost is at $699.5. And but don't get discouraged there. We've got lots of discounts available to help make this happen if it's something that you're really interested in. And so I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Heather Ogle. I'm the program manager for all of our coaching programs here at CPE, including team coaching. And then we are so lucky to be joined by Lori Cozart. She is our program director as well as your instructor. You get direct access to Lori as part of this program, which is an amazing benefit. We'll talk a little bit more with Lori and about all the amazing things and experiences that she's had. So you'll see what a benefit it is to get to have that one-on-one with her in the program. And so now that I've told you a little bit about ourselves, we'd love it if you could tell us a little bit about you so that we can make sure that we are tailoring this session to your needs. You know, we're here to answer your questions and make sure that this is helpful for you. So if you don't mind answering a couple of poll questions that we popped up there, that'll help us know sort of who we have with us, what kind of demographics, and where you've come from. You know, maybe you're totally new to the idea of coaching, or maybe you've, sometimes we have some alumni of our other coaching program who are interested in this new offering that we have. We also get a lot of people in human resource management interested in coaching. It can be a really excellent add-on to your skills and your sort of toolkit. Or in the world of leadership, for sure. So we'll just give it a quick second here. Let's see, where are we? Yeah. And then the final question is, you know, what brings you here? Are you interested in the skills, or do you specifically want a certification, or are you just curious about, you know, the new stuff we have? So let's take a real quick look. We have mostly Bay Area, Sacramento folks with us, but we also have some people outside of California, so welcome. Hopefully your time zone isn't too far away, but I will say in both coaching programs, we have people who come internationally. They stay awake through the night to take the program, and it's fantastic, so we're always excited to see that. And let's see about your sort of experience with UC Davis and us. We have sort of 50-50. On people who have been here with us, so that's fantastic. We have some discounts, especially for alumni from CPE, so keep a lookout for that. And then to know what you're looking for here, learning about team coaching skills, the techniques for work challenges and things like that, so stuff that you can use even if you're not just going to be an internal team coach. And then just sort of learning about this new avenue that's coming out in the world of coaching. So that's excellent. Thank you so much. We can make sure to keep that stuff in mind as we move forward. And then be sure to share your questions as we go. I like it when it's a conversational back and forth. If you have a question for Lori, that's awesome. Use the Q&A box that's found at the bottom of your screen on most versions. And that will let us, Jen will let us know when we have questions coming in. All right, and it looks like my internet may be going low, so I'm going to turn my camera off for a second and see if that helps it, but I'm still here. All right, so this is a little slide introducing your program director, Lori. She is amazing. She has not only her MBA in leadership and management, but multiple coaching certificates at the master level. There's only 5% of people in the world who are master coaches. And so we are really lucky to have Lori on our team. And then she's also been president of the ICF Sacramento chapter. She is CEO and creator of her own company, Brain Squared. She's won multiple awards from UC Davis for her excellence in teaching. So thanks so much for being with us, Lori. Would you like to say hi?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for taking time out of your busy day to spend it with Heather and Jan and I. We're super excited to talk about the program tonight.
So good to have you. All right, let's go ahead and get into our content a little bit here. So we're going to be moving through this kind of agenda. What is team coaching? I know that it can be sort of a new concept for some people, and it may not be obvious exactly how it differs from individual coaching if you're already experienced with individual coaching. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Then how does the program work, sort of the ins and outs, the schedule, and how to apply. So first off, we're going to do another poll. And this time we're going to look at the ICF and your familiarity with the ICF, which is also the International Coaching Federation. This is one of the premier associations, professional associations for coaching in the world, as the name, and we align ourselves with their competencies and foundations. So we've made sure that this team coaching program is aligned with the foundational concepts that ICF has laid out already for team coaching. So let's take a look and see where we are. Okay, wow, it's basically a third split all the way down. We've got a third of you who already have a credential through ICF, a third of you who are somewhat familiar with it, and a third who have never heard of it before. So this is fantastic. It's just shows the wonderful mix of people that we end up getting in our programs, not only for team coaching, but our other coaching program as well, professional coaching. The beautiful thing about doing the program with Lori is that she's able to adapt to where you're at. And you can be somebody without any certified coaching experience, come in, you're a leader, you know some of the concepts, and she'll work with you and pick it up, and you'll find yourself learning how to be a team coach, within the program. And then we have people who are already certified and they're looking to specialize. And so this is exactly the place to do that as well. And that mix of backgrounds just lends itself to an even richer experience as a cohort, because you'll be doing this together in a cohort experience. All right, so we'll stop sharing that. So if you have any questions about what we're talking about with the ICF as we go, for the folks who are new to it, throw it out there, please. That's why we're here. Okay. So we're going to go off of how the ICF defines coaching. And that's defined as partnering through thought-provoking process and being a sounding board for your clients so that you maximize their potential. So basically, you're acting as a partner with your client. You're not an advisor or a mentor. You're more of a tool for this client. Now, in team coaching, that client becomes the team. And when we say team, we don't necessarily mean soccer team. We mean a suite of an executive suite of team members, or a community, what's the word I'm looking for? Nonprofit. So it really doesn't matter, sort of the money behind your team, but it's basically your group of people who need to work really well together to fulfill your mission or your goal at your organization. And so team coaching can come in and look more of an organism, all of you together as one organism, and that's what gets coached instead of necessarily an individual person, which would be something you're used to as an individual coach. Um, all right, and then we get into something called systemic team coaching. And Lori, do you want to talk a little bit more of what we mean by systemic team coaching?
Sure, absolutely. So when we think about team coaching, it really, when Heather talked about we're coaching the entire team as a single entity, that really is what differentiates personal individual coaching from team coaching. And there's also a difference between team coaching and group coaching. It is not the same thing. So as we think about how we define a team, it's really a small set number of people with complementary skills who are committed to a common purpose and a set of performance goals. And so that's how we really define a team in the team coaching aspect. When we start thinking about systemic team coaching, the way that we like to look at, or the way that that is really defined, is that we are looking to help the team align first with common purpose, that we collaborate and learn across diversity. We develop a collective leadership. That means the team leads itself. There may be a team leader, but we are developing the other members of the team to also lead. We're helping them achieve their performance objectives. We're helping them effectively engage with their key stakeholders, whether that's members of the team, members outside of the team in the organization, or outside of the organization in the larger community. And as we look at systemic team coaching, we take a very measured approach. We look at these 5 things that you're seeing on the slide now. We start with conditioning, where we ensure that there is a clear purpose for what we're trying to accomplish with the team in the time that we're contracted to do so. Then we'll move to clarifying. This is where we'll help the team develop their team charter, their primary purpose. What are the KPIs that they're looking at for, their goals, their objectives, and their roles? And one of the things that really stands out for me in team coaching is, and this is often surprising to lots of team members, is we talk about how the roles belong to the organization. They don't belong to the team members. And that simple mind shift and their commitment to actually using the role and performing in the role the way that it was intended for the organization is a shift in mindset that really helps teams move forward. Then we move into the co-creating stage, which is all about the interpersonal and team dynamics. What is the team culture like? How is it how do I fit into the team? What's it like when a new team member comes in? How do they onboard a new team member? And how do they close the relationship for a team member who's leaving? And then, of course, there's connecting, where we're engaging all of the critical stakeholders. So periodically we will do surveys with the stakeholders, but we want to make sure that the team is involved in communication with the stakeholders at all time. You'll see in the center of this is core learning. It's coordinated and, constant reflection of learning, so that they're integrating the new skills that they've learned through team coaching, that they're integrating the new dynamics into the team as they're going through team coaching. And so we rely on this sort of 5-step process in order to help move the team forward and do what they need to do to accomplish their goals and performance measures. And Heather, if you want to switch the slide, I'll talk a little bit about why we do an extensive session all around contracts. You'll see that first measurement was commissioning, which is really the contracting phase. And the reason that we do that is because in organizations, in teams, in partnerships, anywhere you go, there are some psychological contracts that are made that can really muddle the waters for people. And so you'll see in this slide, the example given here is work for pay, right? We get paid to do work. The psychological contracts that are underneath that from a work perspective or from an organization's perspective are the time and the hours, the efforts and the ideas, performance, results, commitment, loyalty, mobility, supervision, innovation, management, driving change, leadership. sacrifice versus tolerance, and risk versus investment. So these are sort of all of the underlying things that the organization believes we agree to when we get work for pay. On the other side of that, all of the other things that underneath for the individual as they go into an organization is we believe there's going to be security, safety and care, training and development, recognition, that we're going to be qualified, right? Somehow that people will tell us what's expected of us, that there's workspace equipment, promotion and growth, responsibility, a work-life balance, and our well-being. And these are the psychological contracts that can get muddied. And we don't really bring them to the surface and say, this is what we're agreeing to. And so just as in, if anybody's ever seen The Big Bang Theory, which is one of the shows that I really love, you'll see that, and Heather, if you want to just advance the slide for me, that would be great. You'll see that Sheldon makes an agreement for everything. He has a roommate agreement. He has a relationship agreement. Everything that he walks into, he creates an agreement for. And I used to think, gosh, before team coaching, I used to think, that's so silly. That's really, all of these things are being laid out in the open, because he even addresses hand-holding and boo-boos in his relationship agreement. But what you'll find is that it eliminates the psychological contracts that people make that lead to disappointment and frustration. And so this is part of, we spend one whole session talking about psychological contracts and the impact that it has on teams, team members, stakeholders, and the organization as a whole. And so those are just some of the exciting things that we do as part of the team coaching program.
Thank you so much, Lori. I had a delay there on my buttons. So it's fantastic. It gets really interesting. When speaking with some of the alumni from our previous cohort who had an amazing experience, I found out that it's not always easy. You're doing some unlearning of things that you're used to doing in the past. And you also have to be comfortable with, I don't know, Lori, what the phrase calling people out comes to mind. I don't know if that's the right phrase or not.
Well, we really need, we develop psychological safety for a group, which is a little more taxing for some, because there's a lot of energy that goes into creating this psychological safety for many people versus just an individual. And once the psychological safety is there, it becomes easy for the conversations to be had that need to be had. And the reason I say that is because, millions, or if not billions of dollars are spent yearly on teams for crucial conversations and critical conversations and those types of conversations. In team coaching, what we help them make happen are those small conversations that, when they're put off and not had, then become crucial and critical. And so we're helping the team really come together and avoid some of the traps that teams can fall into when they're working separately and rowing in other directions, versus being committed to the team and the organization and rowing in the same direction.
Thanks. Yeah, that makes great sense. All right, so we're going to keep going. And if you have any other questions for Lori, please throw them in there. We'll shout them out as we go. But we're going to now talk a little bit about how the program works, what you can expect in class, and these kinds of things. And we're going to launch another poll. This is almost the last one, I promise. But in this one, we'd like to learn a little bit about what you're looking for in your future, as an outcome. What is most interesting to you down the road? Are you interested in using team coaching as, hang a shingle, so to speak, and consult, or do you want to be an internal team coach at a particular big company? We have a lot of folks who do that at the healthcare systems around Sacramento. Are you just not sure yet, and you're just adding tools to your belt and adding to your learning? So let's take a look here. Let's see, answers are still coming in. Awesome. All right, so it looks like the largest majority want to work as an external team coach for hire. So yeah, hanging that shingle and say, if you have issues, let me know. I'll come in and pick them apart with you. And then we also have a large number of folks looking to add to the toolkit. So, maybe you're already a coach and you're looking to add those skills and another egg in your basket so that you have lots of options and skills to bring to the table. So that's fantastic. And then a couple people are looking to be internal coaches at your current organization. And that's really great too, to have that opportunity to use something like this program to elevate in a position that you're already in. And then we have our lifelong learners. 3 of you are not sure yet, but you're here to see what it's all about. So we're glad to have you too. Okay, so with that in mind, let's talk a little bit about how the program works if you were to take it to get to that future. So here is a shot of the schedule. Again, you'll be getting this recording. You can always message us to get a PDF of the schedule. So, don't have an anxiety attack over not being able to write all this down. But the classes are going to be Tuesday evenings from 6 to 9 p.m. And then there are going to be some Saturdays, but we've staggered it. So it's not like every Saturday of your spring is committed to the program. There are weeks off in between. And because we know you're professionals, you're already working, doing different things. So this was our best shot at trying to accommodate working professionals but they can also, have time to get this incredible content. And then you may see like the sessions 2 and 3 are actually the Saturday, and we've broken it down into Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon. So you can do some content in the morning and some in the afternoon and have a break in between. So Lori is also a creator and teacher in our other coaching program that all of the sessions are all day long. So she has experience being on Zoom all day long and knowing how to manage time, give breaks, time for standing up and moving around, keep that blood flowing. She has great experience in all of that already. And then you also may see that we have something called asynchronous group time. And that's just on there to let you know that there's the potential that you would be spending some time with other members of your cohort, doing some work and doing some practice. And there's going to be a little bit of work outside of the actual class time, but we have it already basically scheduled out for you, so you can see when to prepare for that and when you might need to navigate some scheduling with another cohort member, that sort of thing. Lori, would you like to talk a little bit about what it's like in a particular class session?
Sure, we have a ton of fun. And the reason I say that is because to your point earlier, Heather, there is some unlearning that needs to happen and some relearning around how to apply coaching skills to a team. And to your point also, don't worry if you don't have coaching skills, because we're going to cover all of that as well. However, if you are a certified ICF coach, there are some things that need to be unlearned and tweaked a little bit in order to really bring this together. Because when we think about a systemic team coaching practice, we're really looking at an integration of individual coaching, group coaching, facilitation, team building, and organizational development. So if any of those things are your sort of skills already, or if some of these things are missing in your skill set, you're going to get a little bit of all of that infused into our work together. And there is a lot of fun. There's a lot of practice. And I think one of the things that stands out in the feed forward from the prior cohorts is the fact that all through this, your cohort, as you sign up to go through team coaching, you are experiencing what team coaching is like while you're learning to team coach. Because you may all come into this from different organizations, but in the atmosphere that we create, the psychological safety that we create, this really turns into a team that starts to support each other. And so you get the benefit of sort of having team coaching along. So you're seeing it modeled as you're moving through the program and learning the skills for yourself. It's very interactive. There's a lot of fun. Trust me, there is no time for boredom in this cohort. There's a lot of activities, a lot of things to learn, and a lot of things to do. And a lot of it goes back on the individuals who are being trained. So there's lots of opportunities to practice. There's lots of opportunities to work with your cohort members. And of course, there's lots of opportunities to work and learn from your instructor as well.
Awesome, thank you. And Jen, did I see that you had some questions coming in?
Yes, thanks, Heather. We just had a couple questions while we have this up on the screen. Someone was asking if we might be able to share a PDF copy if someone's having trouble seeing it on their screen, as that's something that we can share of the schedule.
Okay, I'll see if I can, if this kind of chat allows me to throw that in there. Otherwise, we can absolutely email it to you after the session.
Great, great. And then the other one, someone had a question about, if they're out of town on a Saturday that it has a class schedule, is that an issue? How would they work with that?
Lori, do you have any comments on, missing a Saturday?
Yeah, in prior cohorts, what we've done is you'll have a buddy, or you might have somebody that's aligned with you in partnership inside the program. And what we typically do is either you can work with me during office hours, or you can buddy up with somebody else to go through the materials. And there's plenty of opportunities to be able to do that with your fellow cohort members as well.
Perfect. So it's a nice side benefit of the program being sort of a non-academic, but with academic instructors, that we can be really flexible about things and make sure that you're taken care of if you need to miss something. Any other questions, Jen?
Yes, we had a couple, and some of them I see everyone's questions, so don't worry, I didn't miss you. I'm just going to kind of gather some of them, some of the slides I know that are coming up. But while we're on this one, someone wants to know, how often is the program offered?
Great. So we are aiming for twice a year. The last one that we did started October and ran through December. And then that was called our fall cohort, and this is our spring. So we're aiming to continue that pattern and do a spring and fall cohort every year. So if this particular schedule doesn't work out for you, keep us in mind, and in a couple months we'll have the fall schedule figured out and we can talk about that.
Great, thanks, Heather. I think some of the other questions I'll probably just hold for a couple more slides. And like I said, I see everybody's questions and we love them. Keep them coming, and keep an eye on them.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Jen. And thank you, everybody, for submitting the questions and keeping it interactive, because that's always more fun. Okay, so here's another bit of awesome things about the program. We are ICF aligned, and as we talked about before, and that's specifically to their team coaching competencies, which are different from their individual coaching competencies. They just brought these out last year, I think it was. And so we've made sure to align with those in preparation for them someday doing a special certification. So for those of you who are already certified, ACC, PCC, you recognize this. For folks who are new to ICF, those letters represent certification levels that you can get as an associate level coach or professional level coach. And so there's some talk in ICF about doing a team certified coach. Now they have said that that's further off than they initially thought. They thought, oh, maybe by the beginning of 2022, we'll have it. And so we're like, okay, awesome. We'll make sure our program does everything you need. And now speaking with them, they're like, okay, maybe by the end of 2022. So we're just going to keep trucking on, and we match up with the ICF and with everything that they come out with the thought that when they do finally come out with that certification, that all of our folks already have the education component that's required to get that special certification. We're also doing a LinkedIn badge, which is awesome these days. Everybody's digital, everybody's online. And when you have a badge that really shows off and draws eyes and is fabulous for marketing. So if you're interested in hanging a shingle, this can be, or finding an internal position, a LinkedIn badge showing that you are team coach certified by UC Davis is a really huge benefit for those kind of processes, grabbing eyes, marketing, that sort of thing. And then we're also still ICF aligned, and so we're getting CCEUs, so those are continuing ed credits for anybody who's not familiar, so that we're still getting credits, even if, you know, ICF hasn't come out with that cool team certificate yet. We'll have some at least continuing ed credits through the program. So those are some nice benefits that come with the program.
Heather, someone wanted to know, are they going to get a grade for this this course? Because you talked a little bit about CEUs and everything.
Right. So it is more of a did you do it, did you not do it situation. Lori, I don't know if you have any particular comments on how the grading works.
Sure. I mean, it's a professional development program, so there are grades issued, but it's really, like Heather said, did you do the work, or did you participate in all of the fun things that you get to participate in, and what did that look like as you move through the program? So yes, the answer is, in short, is yes, there is a grade that's assigned to it, and it's really did you do the work or did you not?
Thanks. Yeah, this is slightly different. So from our other coaching program, if you're familiar with our other coaching program, that definitely has A, B, C, D, and it's for academic credit and things like that. This is different. This is professional development, which gives us more wiggle room in what we do, and leeway for folks if they need to miss a meeting and things like this. But it also puts more onus on you as the participant to be the professional and take advantage of the education, and basically are you there and did you learn it for that education credits and things like that. Any other ones at this point, Jen?
In regards to the latest topic, someone was asking, do the continuing ED credits expire?
That's an interesting question that I don't know the answer to. We are in application with the ICF on that right now. So you can always send me an email and I can let you know when I hear back from them about that. But I would think that it's something that you submit as soon as you finish the program so that you get credit for that. Lori, do you have any experience on expirations?
So CCEUs do not expire. And so I'm curious about the ed credits, if there's a distinction between the two that I don't know, Heather.
Okay. Yeah, no, the ed credits don't expire. So I think we're good on the expiration question. I think.
Yeah. And to your point, when you're ready to renew your credential, if you're credentialed through the ICF, what you will do is you will put in the program as where you acquired your CCEUs. You'll receive a certificate from us for your CCEUs, and you can use that to reestablish or what am I trying to say? To renew your credential.
Yes.
Yeah.
So your credential is what expires, but to keep it active, you do the continuing education credits.
Yes.
Yes. Excellent. Okay. We are doing great. I'm just keeping an eye on time. I'm going to keep going here, but we're doing great. So we've talked about the program, what it's like to sit through a class. Now you say, okay, cool. What do I do next? And that would be apply. So it is an application-based program. Mostly what we're looking for are people with strong intention for the content, as well as to participate and contribute to the cohort experience. You can see here, this is what our webpage looks like. The link is at the bottom. Jen can also put in a link that takes you directly to our application so that you can see what that looks like. If you are on this webpage, you would just click the Enroll Now button, which gets you all excited. You're like, okay, I'll just enroll, but it takes you to the application. And this is what the questions look like. So no surprises. It's totally free to apply. Pop in, make a profile, pop in there, see what it's like. If you're going to answer those, I recommend doing it on a Word document and then just pasting your answers in. And these are all really just about getting to know your experience with teams and leadership and coaching and what you might do with this knowledge, so that we build a really, it's the right word, it's evading me, interested, a better word for interested cohort, people who are really excited about the content.
Not just me, Heather.
Yeah, no, it's I'm joining you guys from the East Coast, so it's later in the day for me. Yeah, so we want people who are excited to be there and are ready to really dig in and have a good time and challenge themselves as well as others. So those are your questions. Don't sweat over them too much. It's, it's not about credentials you already have or anything like that. It's just, we want to know you as a person. Okay, and then here's the sticky part. Everybody wants to know about the cost. So your overall all-inclusive cost, there's nothing extra on top of this. There's no registration fees. There's nothing else to worry about. Is $6,995, and talk to us about discounts. So if you have ever taken a class with CPE, or you are an alumni of our other coaching program, or you get your application in really early, these are all ways to get discounts. And everybody who's joined us live today, in the recording, the email you get that has the link to this recording, you're also going to get a coupon that's for $100 off. That's what my dad used to call antihistamine money, nothing to sneeze at. We have more than 100 that we really want to give you. So, let us know what we can do and try and get you a discount so that we can get you into the program. And at the bottom, you'll see the drop dead date for that application is going to be March 1st. That sounds really far away right now, but you could be really awesome and just turn in your application tomorrow and be ready to go. And then we don't have to worry about who's going to be in the program and who's not going to be in the program on March 1st. We'll just already know everybody who's going to be there, and it'll be great and you'll make my job nice and easy. But if you wait, if I'm a procrastinator anyway, so if you wait till March 1st, that's fine. We'll get your application in, and then your payment would be March 4th. So just know that those deadlines are real close together to hold your spot in the program. All right, so at this point, we'll take any other questions that we have out there. And Jen will launch a sort of final poll that you can answer at your leisure. So Jen, what do we have?
We have some really great questions. I'm just going to pull them up right here. So someone was asking, does, with this kind of position for the courses training you for, does this sometimes serve as a mediator between the group and the company management that hired you?
The answer to that is no. This is not a mediator training. This is about team coaching. And one of the things that really stands out is what we help teams do is engage their own stakeholders. Those are conversations. So it's sometimes being a team coach can be very tricky. And we talk about the traps of team coaching, or the traps for team coaches that they can fall into. And we're very clear in our upfront agreements what we're here to do and what we don't do. And so that would be one of the things that's outside of the scope of team coaching.
Great, thank you. And then another great question is, will the program be open to and help with developing coaching skills, dealing with content or case studies related to dismantling racism, diversity, equity, inclusion, and anti-racism?
The program itself doesn't do that, but oftentimes that will come up in your team coaching experience. What we do talk about is how do we create diversity in a team? And there's actually some exercises that we do in order for the team to get to know each other and appreciate where each one of them is coming from, and breaking down those those walls to have equity across the team. And so that is a really exciting part of the program as well.
Great, thank you. Will this course help us with business development around team coaching?
It doesn't help with business development, but what it does give you is all of the language that you need in order to talk about team coaching. The other thing that we found through the prior cohorts is it really builds the coach's confidence. Having this different sort of lens to look through, to look at the team through, to look at coaching through, really adds a different level of confidence as well as a different level of competence. And so those two levels, those two things coming together really helps a coach formulate for themselves how they want to take this out into the world. And in our final time together, in our final session together, one of our challenges is that we challenge each one of the coaches to talk about, how will you present this to the rest of the world? How will you talk about team coaching to those folks who might be interested? And so in that sense, we are helping them develop their pitch, so to speak, around team coaching and how they can sell it and take it out into the world.
Great, thanks, Lori. Another one is for people who have no formal coaching experience or training. They're wondering if maybe the individual would be better to start with, then transition to team, or what would you advise is the better progression for someone new to coaching in these professional contexts?
That is a really great question, and it's a hard question for me to answer because I am coaching changed my life, and I'm a coach through and through. It is not just a profession to me, it's really a calling. So I'm going to struggle with it, and I'm going to use my two favorite words, it depends. It depends on how you view it. You will pick up the skills for team coaching to go out and be a competent team coach, regardless of what am I trying to say? Regardless if you have coaching skills prior. However, I think coaching skills change all of our relationships. So if I'm asked to weigh one or the other or which one comes first, I would say make sure you take both, and the order may not matter.
Great, thanks, Lori. And someone else was asking if you could kindly maybe give a brief example of maybe a past experience you were part of. What were you called in for, and what was the result?
Sure. Originally, in this example that I'm going to give you, originally, what is the typical catalyst? Let me say this: the typical catalyst for my business is through strategic planning. And as you start to notice that this is what they're looking for, it actually becomes a beautiful opportunity for team coaching. So we have done several engagements around strategic planning where it has really burst the organization into this next level of performance, because the executive team has now broken through some of their barriers to high value. And you'll notice in the program name, it's called Team Coaching for High Value Results. In my opinion, there is a definite difference between high value and high performance. In high performance teams, people are mostly looking out for themselves and their own KPIs and what they're capable of. In high value teams, they are working together to really make an organizational difference. So in one particular team that wasn't really about strategic planning, we were called in because they had a brand new team that they really wanted all the team members to be able to come together and mesh. And it's very interesting. Most people believe that when you come in to do some team coaching, it's team building. Now, there is some of that. There is an element of team building to team coaching, but most of it is very, very focused on what we're trying to accomplish. And so through that, the work that they do together, and through knocking down some of the competition and knocking down some of the hierarchy that happens in teams, or the fear that happens in teams, or the separation through trying to one up each other. Through knocking down some of those barriers, you really get a high performance, high value team that's unstoppable. And that's one of the greatest things I think about team coaching. In fact, it gives me cold chills to talk about it, because what you'll see evolve or the team turn into through struggle, there's no doubt that there's some struggle that happens, but through the work that they do together, if you've ever been part of the magic team, this is what team coaching can really help teams do. I have been a part of several magic teams, and it's sort of when this comes together and everything just flows, and there's a high degree of trust and there's a high degree of execution, because we're all working together and we're working in our own to bring the team the most success. And why do I say that? For me, there is this ripple effect to organizations and leadership. And I think team coaching gives us an underlying opportunity to really build leaders. And that ripple effect for leaders is, it doesn't just have an impact on the leader as an individual, the leader as a part of a team, the leader as a part of an organization, but how we develop teams and how we develop leaders flows out into people's families. And in turn, it really has an impact on our communities. And so for me, coaching and team coaching both help us elevate leadership to a place where we are now practicing the skills that we've learned as being part of that team in a wider context, not just in the team, but in the organization. And as I said, farther out into our homes, into our families, and into our communities. And I think I got off on a little bit of a tangent there, but I'm super passionate about it. So hopefully that answered the question.
That was great. Thank you, Lori. All right, so I want to be mindful of our time. We do still have a little bit of time left. I see one question still left in the Q&A. I'd ask, could you sort of clarify that question? It says asking something about the both kinds of coaching. I think maybe what the answer would be, or what you're looking for is, do you teach high value and organizational coaching? I think the answer would be that it would get to, team coaching gets and covers both areas, but I want to make sure that we kind of understand your question. And if you think of it later and want to email it to us, I can always send it on to Lori as well. And besides that, I'm not seeing any other questions come in. Jen, do you see any other questions?
No, I think that's it. But, as Heather mentioned before, you'll be getting a follow-up email. You can always reach out to her if you have any other questions that you think about or think of after you are here tonight.
All right, I think that does it for us this evening. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to work with coaches and to-be coaches, coaches in training, etc. So I'm so glad you guys could come out. And if you have any other questions as you're thinking about this, please feel free to get in touch, and we can always chat some more about what the program's like and what it can do for you. So after that, everybody have a great evening. Goodbye, thanks.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Jen. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.